Mr. Panigrahi was not able to come for this session due to personal reasons. I now request Mr. Mohan Kadam, GM of Dana India, to kindly make his presentation.
Good morning to all of you. First, I would like to thank Mr. Devendra Jain, President IIF, Mr. Subodh Panchal, Chairman of 70th Foundry Congress, Member of National Council and 70th Foundry Congress organizing team for giving me the opportunity to present during the Foundry Congress. During my presentation, I would like to cover business overview of Dana and the casting spend overview for Dana, which is more interested for today's session. And this will provide the audience information about Dana Corporation, casting spend, where we buy our castings, and what are the opportunities for Indian foundries to do business with Dana. So I'll start with, we have given 15 minutes to present, so I will skip some of the slides which may not be very interesting for you. Dana founded in 1904, which is 118 years old company. We have 40,000 people working in 32 countries. We have 9 technical centers worldwide. We have about 139 plants in 32 countries. We serve 14,000 customers and we provide products to 141 countries in the world. We serve in major 3 markets. Our 2021 sales was close to 8.9 billion. Out of that, 52% of our revenue comes from light vehicle, 30% comes from off-highway segment, and 18% revenue comes from the commercial vehicle and heavy vehicle technologies. In region-wise sales, 47% of our sales comes from North America, 32% sales comes from Europe and Africa, 14% of our sale comes from Asia Pacific, and 7% from the South America. So we work in technologies like drive, motion, electrodynamics, thermal, sealing, and digital technologies. So all these technologies are used in every business unit, and we deliver solutions to our end customers. So out of 2021 sales, 52% sales contributed by light vehicle, 30% by off-highway, and 19% by commercial vehicle. So if we talk about Dana's customer, our biggest customer is Ford, which is contributing to 19% of our sales. Stellantis, Volkswagen, Deere and Company, Packard, these are our major customers. In off-highway segment, John Deere is our biggest customer. We talk about vision, mission, and values of Dana. Dana's vision statement is powering innovation to move our world. Our vision is driving stakeholders' value by providing vehicles and machines around the world, shaping sustainable progress through invention and execution, and making amazing happening wherever people live, work, and play. Our values are value others, inspire innovation, go responsibly, and win together. So if we talk about our leadership team, Mr. Jim Kamsikas is our chairman and CEO. And these are the functional leaders. Mr. Aziz Agheli is heading, he is the executive vice president in heavy vehicle technologies. And Mr. Craig Price is a CPO. These are our global strategies. leverage the core, deliver sustainable competitive advantage, drive customer centricity, customer at the center of our decision making, expand global markets. Asia Pacific and Europe is the developing market, and our focus is to develop market in Europe and Asia Pacific. Deliver innovative solutions, evolving and enhancing our products. Lead electrical propulsion, which is the need of the hour, and whole world is moving towards that. So we develop and deliver fully integrated e-propulsion solutions to our customer. So Dana is providing complete e-propulsion capabilities from a single source, and we have developed and delivering solutions from heavy commercial vehicles to commercial buses. In off-highway market, we have solutions for tractors, material handling equipments, mining equipments. So these are the focus area for Dana in the today's days. Dana is also very focused on innovation. We have technical centers in 9 countries. We have 2,300 engineers working in all technology centers. Then I spent close to $300 million on R&D in 2021. We have more than 10,000 patents, and they now won 5 automotive news PACE awards. If we talk about electrification snapshot, Dana has acquired 50 plus years of electrification expertise. We have more than 7,000 engineers working focusedly on electrifications. In electrification, we have applied or received almost more than 1,300 patents. 1.8 customer miles driven by Dana TM4 motors, which is the iconic product in Dana. We have more than 25,000 vehicles running on the road with electrification. We are able to divert 3 million metric ton of CO2 from the cities. Dana received more than 25 industry recognition in 2021. Some of them are from our esteemed customer Caterpillar, John Deere, General Motors, Daimler, and Packard. Dana has been recognized top employer in Europe, in United States, in India, in China, and great place to work in Mexico. Dana having 40,000 employees working across 32 countries. Every one of us are problem solvers, innovators, and achievers, each bringing our experience, expertise, skills, and personalities to the company. Together, we have a common thread, people finding a better way. These are some of the market applications where Dana is providing products. Those are all passenger vehicles, off-highway vehicles, railways, mining equipments, marine applications, material handling. So I would like to spend some time on Dana's casting overview, which is more interested for all of you. In 2021, our spend for casting was $840 million. If we convert in terms of tonnage, we had purchased 39,000 metric ton castings every month. And if we talk about where those are used, majority of the castings are used by off-highway segment, which is 47%. If you remember, the sales revenue from off-highway comes 30%, but the casting consumption is 47% in off-highway, followed by 41% in light vehicle and 11% in commercial vehicles. On the region-wide spend, we spend 40% of our casting spend in Europe, followed by North America and Asia Pacific. These are some of the pictures of the casting parts we buy. if we talk about casting by region, by consumption and by buying, purchasing. So we consume 40% of the castings from European region, but we buy 38% in Europe. So 2% of the castings are purchased from outside of the region. In US, we consume 32% of the castings, but we purchase 27% in North America. So balance 3% goes from somewhere else. So that is Asia Pacific. 2% in Europe, 3% in North America. So 5% castings are exported by the supplier in Asia Pacific. So the message is very clear. The opportunities are huge. As of now, we don't do much. There is a big scope to export castings to Dana, North America and Europe. So this is just for your information. These are our top 20 suppliers worldwide. The first 8 suppliers are either from Europe or from North America or Israel, and they contribute almost 35% of our total spend. Top 20 supplier contributes to almost 50% of our spend. 4 suppliers are from India, 4 from China, one is from Thailand. Our casting spend in Asia Pacific is 446 million, out of which we buy almost 50% castings from India, 37% from China and 13% from Thailand. So these are the top 15 suppliers in Asia Pacific. We are proud to say India is leading. We have 7 suppliers from India, 4 from China, 2 from Thailand, 1 from South Korea. Lastly, I will speak about local consumption of casting in India. So our consumption is 99 million, which is around 5,000 metric tons per month. That is going to grow to close to 10,000 in next 4 years. That is mainly driven by the new program launches, and Dana is also relocating product from other parts of the world to India to support the growth in Asia Pacific. These are the top 10 suppliers in India who are contributing almost 80% of our spend. So while talking, so you must be thinking that there is a good opportunity with Dana to do business. So what we expect as a Dana from our suppliers? So while looking for a supplier, we look for suppliers should be financially stable to support Dana's business growth and future expansion in capacity to meet Dana's growing need. Supplier must have advanced manufacturing capabilities to ensure robust in-process controls to deliver top quality products to Dana. Supplier must have robust quality system to ensure right quality products are produced and delivered to Dana consistently. Supplier must review and assess ongoing business risk and develop mitigation plan in advance to avoid any disruption in supplies to Dana. Those can be any business risk. And last, supplier top management should be committed to develop long-term business relationship with the Dana. So while going through the RFQ process, supplier must provide quick and competitive quotes for new RFQs. After business is awarded, quick development of parts to meet project timelines. Supplier must follow the program management process involving all stakeholders from supplier and Dana side to have proper approval in process. Supplier must build capacity to meet agreed volumes to support ramp up and meet program volumes at peak. In ongoing supplies, we should have a flawless launch, no surprises after SOP is done, no deviation in the processing, no deviation in the deliveries and qualities. So all the robust quality system has to ensure that we do first time right. And supplier should build advanced capacity to meet programs peak volume. This is must in today's scenario. Supplier must plan for local warehouse near Dena facility to ensure uninterrupted supplies to Dena. Keep safety stock in the warehouse to take care of unplanned delays in logistics. Supplier should continuously work on process improvement and improve product cost to remain competitive in the market and create value for both supplier and Dena. Supplier to ensure 100% performance on quality and delivery. Supplier must meet or buy product liability and product recall. Now since 2021 April, it is mandatory rule also in India. It was not there till date, but this is must to cover your risk through product recall and liability insurance. So this is all from my presentation today. Any question, comments are welcome to take up. I hope I have finished in 15 minutes.
Thank you for completing in 15 minutes. What we'll do is towards the end, we'll have the question and answer session. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everybody for patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan Kadam, for giving this presentation. Now, may I request our session chairman, Mr. Vijay Menon, to hand over a memento to Mr. Kadam.
I now request the next speakers, which would be Mr. Shrikrishna Kulkarni and Rajesh Edlabadkar, to kindly make their presentation.
Okay, good morning everyone. First, I would like to thank Mr. Devendra Jain, President, Indian Institute of Foundryman, Mr. Subodh Panchal, Organizing Chairman for the Indian Institute of Foundry, and all the IFC team for giving us this opportunity to come here and to talk to you about John Deere. So what I'll do is, me and my colleague Shrikrishna, I will take you through John Deere Global, few slides that I'll take you through talking about what is John Deere. And then Shrikrishna will talk to you more specific about John Deere in India, and in few slides talk about the opportunities that we see for castings. So to start with, we are a Fortune 100 company in world. So that's John Deere. And if I know the latest rank, I think we have risen to a level of 88 today. We take pride. We take pride in finding solutions which help us to innovate and lead the business for us and more importantly for our customers. And I'll talk about that, what I mean in my last slide, because we have gone through a significant change in terms of looking at our customer differently than what we were looking in the past. And that's what it means, that we are here to innovate and lead for us as well as for our customers. And if you know, I'm not sure how many of you know, but we in India have introduced several innovative products in tractor segment. We are about 70,000 employees globally. Obviously, we are interested in solving big problems because big problems are big opportunities. So the problem that our customer face in their business, the problems that customers have in improving profitability of their business, sustainability of their business. We are interested in understanding those problems and solving those problems. We take pride in solving those big problems. We are located in over 70 countries across globe. And obviously Shrikrishna will talk about that when we talk India, but I would like to mention from India, we export tractors to more than 115 different countries across the globe. Okay, and I also take pride in telling you all that all of the casting that are required in these products that we build in India and we ship to more than 115 countries across the globe come from all of you strong foundry ones here in India. So we really feel good about that. The parts and the products that we buy from you fit in the tractor that goes globally to every customer of John Deere. So obviously we know these are the machines that you probably have seen. Green and yellow is our brand, and these are the machines that we sell. Different lines of equipments. We have a lot in CNF, which is construction and forestry, ag and turf, and also on the engine side. So this is something which we are focusing a lot. You know, precision agriculture. We probably have heard this word a number of times, but we are really making this precision agriculture defined very, very precisely. When I say defined very precisely, you know, how the seed should be sown, at what depth the seed should be below ground, how much amount of nutrition is required by the seed and when, how frequently we have to apply that nutrition, how we should ensure the growth of the seed. So a lot of these things are controlled for every plant or every seed. It is not just the farm, but every plant and every seed is looked at as a production machine, and we make sure that we have precision solutions that support that single plant in the whole field. A lot of technology Deere takes pride, which they have developed and which we continue to develop even going forward in future. Wordgun, this is probably you're aware, they are the leaders in road construction equipment. They are part of John Deere. This is now a part of Deere and Company. Wordgun also has a plant in Pune, and they make these machines for India as well as globe. Obviously, we take pride, as I said, for tractors, for agriculture. We also take pride in industry-leading solutions for harvester equipments. Many of us are not aware about these forestry business because these are the unique machines that are required to manage large forests, harvesting of large forests. Deere is the global leader in making equipments for the forestry requirements. We make our own engines. Most of our engines are built by John Deere with our own design in our engine facilities located globally in Europe, in US, as well as we have in India for our local domestic business. So I'll just take you through. This is the market share that we have in US. If you look at the lawn tractors, we sold 1 out of every 3 tractors sold in US is John Deere. So John Deere definitely has a strong market and a market share in US. Obviously, we do financing with so much of equipment that we manufacture and build and sell across globe. We have lots of financing that we do. So we have our own financing arm supporting financing of equipment. And this financial arm exists in more than 50 countries. And we also have our own equipment financing in India. It's called John Deere Finance. So this is one slide that I'll just talk through, and then Shrikrishna, I'm going to invite you. But you know, I mentioned about we changed the way we started looking at our business 2 years ago. 2020, John Deere brought in a big change. Are we going to look at our customer the same way that we used to look in the past? We said there is a big need to change that. And then Deere came up with these 3 important operating models. and I'll shortly explain you to help you understand that. The first one is production system. What does this mean is the production system for the crops, be it maize, cotton, sugarcane, wheat. We are looking at end-to-end production system, end-to-end agronomy of that crop. We are not going to say that we sell tractor. We are not going to say that we are going to sell harvester. What we are saying is we want to understand the value that exists in the production system for the end-to-end crop cycle and the opportunity to make customers profitable and dealer find more business when we unlock the production system value. So for example, if you look at corn, it is right from the seeds to the harvest. We look at the complete corn agronomy, complete corn production system. And then we see what's the potential opportunity beyond just selling tractors and harvesters and what more value can be unlocked which can benefit our customers as well as Deere. So that's about production system. So we are looking at customer. Technology stack. Obviously, a lot of things are changing. We talk of electrification. We are very soon going to talk about electronic engines. So technology stacks are going to be important because in future, more and more, we will see machines getting connected. We will have technology-enabled solutions which will be more aggressive and rapid in future than in the past. That's technology stack, so we are working on that. And third, on life cycle solutions, we want to retain customers not at the initial buy, but throughout the life of the equipment, we would like to associate with the customer. These three operating models have been imbibed and we have restructured ourselves to look at our business. So with that, Shrikrishna, I will request you to take through the next part, which is talking more about John Deere in India and opportunities obviously for casting. Thank you.
So after this, my name is Shrikrishna and I take care of various castings and also process tech commodities. So after looking at the global scenario, we'll switch over to Indian context and how Deere is structured as far as India is concerned. So this is what Deere is in India. We started off with joint venture with L&T. Then it becomes a wholly owned subsidiary of John Deere, US. And in 2012, we had John Deere Financial and also our Lonikan factory, ISG, which produces electronic components and displays for our own products for usage in India and also abroad. In 2014, we had part distribution center. This is located in Nagpur. The reason is logistics advantage for Deere. And this is, apart from that, we have Wittgen, what Rajesh just mentioned about it. And then we also have our E-Tech Bangalore facility. So Deere in India has got two major components, our manufacturing facility within India, and we have technology center. The technology center is located in Magapatta city. That's the mother plant for our E-Tech facilities. And then we do have our headquarters also in Magapatta. So we, part of a global team, support our requirements within India and also whatever is required in various regions for Deere, be it Europe, be it US, or be it Southeast Asia. As far as accelerated pace of innovation and technology, we talked about the smart industrial operating model, which journey Deere has taken since 2020. It talks about production system, it talks about tech stack, and it talks about life cycle solutions. In that, how we are looking from India perspective in terms of what is going to come next. We are talking about advanced features on tractor. Deere is known for that, bringing in the new technology within India. Also, you probably have seen a video very recently launched on YouTube, which talks about 8000 series autonomous tractor that has been rolled out, that has come as a reality. And we are also talking about smart connected tractors. So this is going to be the future. This is going to be the focus as far as Deere is concerned. So we talk about electronic engine. obviously, emissions are going to be very, very important for us. After that, we are also referring to electro-hydraulic transmissions. So this is going to be a focused area for Deere in India also, abroad also. Faster pace of technology adoption. We focused and we talked about the pace of innovation and technology adoption during our supplier meet also. And we want our supply base, our business partners to work focusedly with Deere in developing this innovation and technology solutions for our customers at an affordable price. So that's something which is remain at the core of Deere. The expectation from suppliers, you see here, infrastructure, competency, skill development, cost-effective, and localization of technology and parts. See, the localization part, I just want to touch upon a little bit on this. The reason is you see most of the technology getting transferred from US or Europe when it comes to India. And we see a lot of opportunity for our business partners here in India to support in localization with respect to frugal innovation, what we are famous for, and support our customers in India, at the same time create headroom and global sourcing opportunities for Deere. And that is remain as a unique advantage offered to our supply base by Deere. This slide, you know, we started very small in terms of component level in 2014. This is talking about what is global sourcing potential for India. Just to give you some glimpses of where we are, though we are not officially putting any figures onto the forum, we buy about 8,000 to 9,000 tons of castings every month. And this includes our domestic consumption as well as our support to Europe and North America. We started in 2014. The journey has been very exciting for us. Our supply base is engaged. The philosophy with which we work on is we have a domestic supply base. Out of that, we recommend few critical suppliers to our global sourcing. We being a global company, we have got norms and strategies which are defined across the regions. What it means is me and my team is responsible for managing the spend, not only for India, but also whatever spend is happening in Europe and North America. So we provide our inputs. It's a global strategy, global tools, and it is visibility of the supply base across the globe. In 2014, as you see on the left-hand side, we started with component level and we migrated to assembly level now. So, like Rajesh mentioned, our transmission factory also exports transmissions, engines, aggregates to our units, various units in Brazil, Mexico, Europe, and US. But these supplies, which we are mentioning here, global sourcing, this is a direct bond between our supply base and the consuming unit. So we are working as a IPO function, as a strategic sourcing agency, and we select key suppliers, potential suppliers. We discuss the commercials, and we set it up for our North America, Europe, and rest of the world, you know, for them, the strategies and the supply base. So this is seamless strategy which works throughout various regions. How we do that? We have a Achieving Excellence program. On the left-hand side, what you see, the number of suppliers and average spend. The strategy remains across our Europe, North America, India is we want to not increase the number of suppliers, but what we want to make sure that all of our supply base is definitely growing in spend. How can we do that is, you know, the suppliers who are excelling in these 5 pillars, I would say, performance pillars, we rate them for various commodities. We have a stakeholder's opinion into it, each and every aspect. It is not a subjective, it is objective. It is based on system calculations. So there is very limited manual intervention in terms of when we rate a supplier. We don't want you know, human biases to come in. And that is how we want to make sure that best of best suppliers are selected for global sourcing opportunities. The highest reward, I see some of the faces which are very familiar with doing business with Deere, is something which is at a partner level, and the Hall of Fame, which we recognize as the supplier who is consistently performing at a partner level for consecutive 5 years, will be called and will be recognized in our Moline facility, headquarter facility in Deere in US, and we definitely celebrate. And I'm happy to share that some of the foundries have achieved this. Sometimes it is seen that proprietary items, foundries, the machine components, raw casting, we are not able to compete. But we have today also a supplier who is performing less than 500 ppm, just to give you some glimpse of where we stand. And these suppliers, they produce from 1.5 kilo, 2 kilo castings up to 100, 110 kg casting. So it's across. It's not something like one part, millions of pieces, and that's how they are able to control. No. This is not off-highway business, as you know, is basically talking about variety, what is required. It talks about complexity. It talks about flexibility. So I'm just giving some information in terms of supporting achieving excellence how. And these suppliers definitely are getting recognized by way of getting more business, value-added business, and also getting more global sourcing opportunities. Coming to expectations from supplier, very specific, very basic. This is nothing new to us. Only the piece which I really want to touch upon is innovation and digitization. This is a piece which is very important for Deere, and we are going to work towards making sure that we make IoT and smart connected factories, Industry 4.0, and definitely working towards it. Our manufacturing facilities in Pune and Devas are equipped with that. We have been investing in digitization, so we would definitely want our supply base to support and collaborate with us. It is not going to be a one-sided journey. Definitely, it is mutual, and we have our tech center who can support our supply base in terms of adoption of technology, and we have done it in the past, and we make sure that we in future also work towards it. And the most important and very, very focused in Indian context is compliance portion. So integrity is core to everything what we do, and we live with it. We mean by this statement, and definitely we ensure that the supplier code of conduct is followed to the last part. So there is no compromise on compliance part of it for our suppliers, and so this remains as a basic expectation for our suppliers. What it means for us, real-time data analytics, API, automation, and cyber security. Because we come across a situation, just before coming and traveling here, I came to know that there is a cyber attack, on one of the suppliers' database, and some of the Deere information feared to be leaked. Fortunately, it has not. But then, because of cyber attack, it was exposed to deep web. So this is something which we don't want, and making sure that we adequately have the technology advances, but at the same time, we make sure that cyber security is going to be the most important and, focused area for us. So while taking significant efforts on smart connected supply chain, we request you to be partner with us on this journey. This is my presentation's last slide. When I know most of us or most of the members here in this hall would like to definitely work with Deere, and we welcome. We want best of the best suppliers to be part of our business journey. How do we connect, or how do you want to connect with us? There is JDSN, what we call as John Deere Supplier Network. You can apply through it, or you can reach out to us. Our coordinates are provided in the literature here, provided in IFC. So definitely we would welcome most eligible suppliers or whosoever wants to have business with Deere, you are more than welcome. So thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you, Shrikrishna. Thank you, Rajesh, for the excellent presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajesh and Shrikrishna, sir. The John Deere is really dear to all the foundry industry, of course, in terms of the casting demand, as well as in terms of the technological support which give. Of course, it is a demanding customer, but we should work with such customer to progress in the right direction. Now I request Mr. Vijay Menon to hand over the memento to Rajesh.
Yes, we now request Mr. Pradeep Ramaswamy and Mr. Santosh Bangar to make the presentation.
Good morning to all. Good morning to all. Vijay sir, I have a submission to make. I have not made a good presentation. Till 10 o'clock, I was being called that there is shortage in castings. I lost around 100 engines yesterday. The reason is casting shortage. So because of that, I was not able to make a good presentation. But okay, I will not disappoint you guys. We have made something. Sir will present. Good morning to all once again. Sorry, I just wanted to give a glimpse of what's going on in the casting industry. We will connect what I told now, we will connect at the end of the presentation as well, once again. My name is Pradeep and I lead Tata Cummins Purchasing. And I have with me Mr. Santosh Bangar, who leads the castings for Cummins in India. First of all, let me thank the IFC and the organizing committee for providing an opportunity for us to come and present over here. I would like to thank Cummins, which is my organization, and my boss as well, for allowing me to be over here. And lastly, I would also like to thank my colleague, Mr. Santosh and Akanksha, who helped me in making this presentation. So this is the topic which has been given to us, future demand for castings, how it looks like. What I would going to cover is a few slides about Cummins, which is the overview of Cummins. I'll talk about the macroeconomic indicators, because this is one of the indicators which helps us to connect to the industry and to the last mile. We'll talk about the growth in the next 5 years, giving you the glimpse of what we look as Cummins, where we stand today, and where we can go. The next one I'll touch upon, even though there is a demand available in plenty, are we ready? So let's talk about some gaps and what are the areas of focus. And lastly, it would be a conclusion, which this I'll sum it up. Overview of Cummins, just 1 or 2 slides on this. We have 5 operating segments in the world, which we call it as engine business, which I am part of it. Power systems, wherein most of you might have seen the green colored above, that is predominantly called as green color, that is our gensets, that belongs to the power systems. And the next business is the component business, which is an allied business for power systems as well as the engine business, wherein we develop or we manufacture turbos, we manufacture after treatments. So this is all part of the components group. There is a big BU, which is supporting all these things from a distribution perspective. So we call it as the DBU, that is Distribution Business Unit. And the new thing which is coming is the new power, wherein you guys need not have to worry about, kal battery aa jayega to kya hoga? Even for battery or even for hydrogen cells, even for anything, casting is still required. So you are required for this journey. Moving on to the few statistics about Cummins. We are present in almost around 190 countries and territories, around 60,000 employees worldwide. Last year, we made around $24 billion as our sales revenue, and it's increasing this year as well. A good service network, which around 10,000 plus service network, and a huge amount getting invested in research and development and the new technologies. Every day, we are trying to acquire some new business. There is a recent acquisition as well, which happened a few days ago. And not but the least is, we are in the industry from last 103 years. So this is all about Cummins, which I want to tell. I won't get into more deeper about Cummins. Let's talk about what we want in the industry today. I want to ask you guys a question. How many of you have passed SSC? Oh, only one guy, two. Okay. So all of you have passed SSC, right? That is 10th standard. No, I'm not talking about your academic 10th standard. What I'm talking about is sustained supply chain. This is what I wanted to talk about. And I want to connect this theme. While I said in the beginning that every day we get as a buyer, my colleagues also might resonate with me. There are two aspects that gets questioned to us every day in the morning management sessions. One is, casting क्यों नहीं आया? Second thing, इतना भाव क्यों बढ़ गया? Hope you guys will resonate with me. Why is this happening? But let me talk about the sustained supply chain. And before going to the sustained supply chain, let us understand the macroeconomics. What I will talk about in the macroeconomics and try to link is, these are some of the indicators which we monitor and which I monitor personally as well. And during our communications to our supplier on a monthly basis, we talk about this so that this gives a very good information about what is happening, what can happen as well. The indicators are GST collection, diesel consumption, road construction. These are the three macroeconomic indicators which gives you a fair idea about what's happening in the economy. I personally monitor the another one, which is for my industry, that is, which I represent, is the M&HCV sales. Okay, there was some hitch in the presentation, so I'll talk like this itself. This is the key economic indicator, like GDP, which talks about the inflation rate, which talks about the highway constructions. So if you see the GDP, there is a good improvement in the GDP. If you see the highway constructions are increasing. And if you see the diesel consumption and the e-way bills, that is also increasing. I'll not get into too much of the numbers on this. If you see, this is one of the very key indicator, that is the GST collection. How is the GST collection trend happening? If you see the GST collection, they dropped over here. Second wave COVID. I have not plotted the first wave of COVID. It was totally at very abysmal levels. This is the second wave. And now it is increasing. So this is the e-way bill collections. Highway constructions. See the highway construction which is happening over here. Diesel product consumption, how the diesel is getting consumed, and how the GST is getting collected. What does it mean is that the economy dipped, it increased. We can see it at the grassroots levels of the buying, grassroots levels of the toll booth collections. grassroots level of diesel consumption. So what it all tells is that there is a very good opportunity going forward, and the industry is in a good shape. Let me talk about, now coming from the macro indicators of overall India, I'll talk about the M&HCV sales. This talks about Q1 of 2019, that is the pre-COVID era financial closure year, quarter, and currently where we are. This is not summed up. This is 3 months data. If you can add, it comes to around 110 approximately. Thousands of units. So what does it mean? We are somewhere over here. We have not touched 2019 yet. We have still a long way to go to touch to 2019. Still a gap of 25% to touch to 2019 levels, which we call it as a very good growth period. Even with less than 25% demand today, I still have casting shortage. This is the major worry as a buyer, as a purchasing leader in the organization. I have a major worry over here. However, the growth and the future looks very bright. So that is where all of us are here as buyers to tell you that future is bright and we need to work jointly. So these are the macroeconomic indicators which I personally monitor. And now let's talk about the growth, how we look at the growth in next 5 years. I have divided this into 3 portions. One is an increasing domestic requirement. Whatever we buy, it gets consumed inside India itself. The second portion will be whatever I buy in India, we inside Cummins add some value to it, and then we export out of India. The third one is directly exporting out of India from Cummins supply base. There are few people in this podium wherein they are our suppliers and they supply to several Cummins plants directly. So now, talking to the increasing domestic requirement as well as the global, how it looks like. This is our journey, what we look like and what we forecast. In next 5 years, we see a CAGR of 10% inside Cummins itself, only for casting growth. Currently, the spend of Cummins in India is around $32 billion, translating to approximately around 2,300 crores. That is what Mr. Santosh and team buys. If I put overall Cummins Inc., it is around $1.5 billion. Approximately somewhere around more than 10,000, 11,000 crores. And out of that, some portion goes out of India. Roughly around 8 to 10% is exported out of India. That is not sufficient for me. Some of the areas which we feel which is going to improve is on the next level of cylinder blocks, castings, thin-walled castings, CGI, the new SIMOCR castings. So all these things are going to be the future bread and butter for all of us. So this is how, according to me, the casting industry looks like for Cummins. As I told you, the next one is the increasing local requirement for exports with the value add. And the last but not the least is the direct export opportunity. And one more thing is, in the direct export opportunity today, in last 1 year, Santosh and team has got a lot of global RFQs to be supplied out of India. And the reason for that is, there is a reduced manufacturing in US and Europe. All of us know that very well. So the US, for various reasons, they want to reduce. Many people think this is a dirty job. Let me be very frank into that. And they want to push it to India or to China, but I don't feel so. This is soil at the end of the day. Nothing is dirty. So this is, coming to India, we should embrace this as a big opportunity. So if you see this, the casting productivity by country, this is dated to 2019. I have not put a 2021 graph. The reason is that will be a bit skewed. Let's stick to 2019 pre-COVID era. India is the second largest casting producer in the world. First is China. But what I feel is the business will move from China to India, and there are businesses moving from down the countries, that is Japan, Germany, Russia to India. So over a period of time, this India bar should get bigger with the contribution of this Indian industry. So this is how this global scenario looks like. And also a couple of things are which supports all these things is labor shortage, raw material shortage, and also one more thing is movement away from China as a risk mitigation. Many of the companies, lot of RFQs came to India to develop, and at that time we struggled a lot to find a reliable partner. So with this, let me just move to the gaps and areas of focus. Let me be pinpointed and calling upon these areas of focus, which as a buyer, as a purchasing leader, which I want the industry to focus on. Quality, cost, and delivery. First is quality. We need Q, then is C, and then is D. It all adds. Don't ship 100% to us with defects. Even for example, if it is 10 numbers less, if all 90 are okay, that is perfectly okay. So quality is at most important. For example, I'll just quote. I supply blocks, machined finished blocks from India to our plants in UK. And for that, the casting vendor is Neosim. And this story is 2020 August, September timeframe, where there were demands in the casting, and we were not able to supply. The rejection rate was 95%. Rejection rate for 95%. We had taken the business. We had to supply from India. One point in time, we thought that should we write a letter stating that we can't supply from India. We didn't do that. This team in India stood up, and today the story is totally different. Today, we are able to produce more than 75% RTY. That is, at the finish stage, the block is 75% okay. 25% still rejection is there, which we are working on. So this is another emphasis which I want to talk about. But the capacity is available. I am surviving. Earlier, there was a thing that we have a plant in US called as Rocky Mount. They supply to Darlington, that is in UK. There was a lot of fight between India and US, wherein that team in US said that we will supply from US. Then we said we will supply from India. And today I can proudly say I am adequately capacitized and we are able to supply. And now we tell, kitna chahiye bolo, hum utna denge aapko. That was the turnaround which the team did, and that focus is required. Now, why this happens is, one is, what I've seen is, there is lack of seriousness on quality. चलता है attitude है आज भी, नहीं चलता है. It doesn't. Aesthetics are at most important. कितने लोगों के पास iPhone है? More than 50% will have the touch and feel of iPhone. But please don't tell that iPhone के जैसा पैसा नहीं देते हो करके, वो अलग बात है. I will not talk about that. But the only thing is, touch and feel is very important. देखने के बाद ऐसा लगना चाहिए कि हाँ ये सुंदर है करके, अप्रतिम है. That is what we want in castings. It's not that I still see casting आता है, पुट्टी भर के आ जाता है, and then बाद में machine करने के बाद निकल जाता है. Absolutely not acceptable. So lack of seriousness. Then the next one is lack of automation. I was going through the newspapers, this is a few days ago, this is from Times of India, which I cut out. And I thought this is very well applicable for this industry. There was a very proud feeling in the newspaper stating that, oh, we are automated. Industry is moving to Industry 4.0. Fantastic. But if you see, it is all auto OEMs who are doing in the assembly line. What are you doing as casting manufacturers? How many of you have automated the things? How many of you feel that the core is very important and you handle the core like a baby? How many of you people do that? Core टूट जाता है, radius खत्म हो जाता है, कुछ भी निकल के आ जाता है. So, automation is right amount of automation. I won't tell that you should have automation for everything. We are Indians. We should not do that. We should put our brains and heads to it and see what is the right amount of automation that needs to be done. This is April. Come May, I will have sleepless nights because of shortage. क्यों? फिटलिंग करने वाले भाग गए, गांव चले गए. Or in south, they will not come out of the homes because they get whatever they want inside the homes. The people will not turn to the industry. This is the real problem of casting industry. We want a right amount of automation to be put in place so that the dependency is reduced to a good extent. Then the next thing is on delivery. When I talk about delivery, the first thing that comes to my mind is the unsustained supply chain. What do you mean by unsustained supply chain? Let me talk about, there is a huge hue and cry on availability of scrap and pig iron. वो तो बहुत बड़ी बात होगी, वो तो दुनिया भर के सभी लोगों को मालूम है. But what I want to emphasize is on the smaller things that you put it into the casting, that is the inoculants, basically. And the fragility coming because of this. I am not able to put the entire thing. Whatever I could understand, we are able to put it. That itself suggests that how fragile we are. For example, if you see on the right-hand side, which is the origin, please look at the origin. India is not there on all the lines. India is there only on rhodiums or FEMG, that's all. Ferromanganese we are able to get in India. Rest, ferrosilicon, moly, silicon, nickel, copper, bentonite, whatever you name, the raw material. As casting manufacturers, you also don't know where it comes from. You think that you are getting it from a trader. That trader will buy from another trader. See, I have already mapped tier 1, tier 2. These are trader names. Who buys from where. But I don't know what is the further supply chain. This is the fragility what we have. And this is where I want the industry, this industry to focus on so that you know that entire masala is available. ये simple है. दाल बन गई, तड़के के लिए रख दिया, तेल डाल दिया, राई नहीं है, ढूंढते बैठ गए राई के लिए. This is what is called as inoculants, but which is very much required. So, India hardly appears in the origin, which needs to be taken care of, needs to be further pondered upon, which will definitely lead to the fragile supply chain or leading to the fragile supply chain. We do have a growth. Currently itself, we are in shortage. We are seeing a growth further as well. And we are proudly telling India can be a hub for casting manufacturing. But if we don't address these small issues, these are going to bite us hard. And this is going to pull us down with our credibility, which should not happen. And the last one is on the input cost variation. Yes, there is a lot of cost increases are there. Every day it doesn't go that I get a number of bombardments from my casting team that approval de do. 5 रुपए बढ़ गया, 8 रुपए बढ़ गया, which used to happen once in a year, twice in a year. It is happening, it used to happen 6 monthly once, started happening quarterly, started happening monthly. Yes, we are addressing these issues, but the problem is, one thing that you need to guys to understand is supply, don't stop. People will support you. Because of you not procuring the raw material, we end up into the premium. Then another fight starts. Premium कौन pay करना है, क्यों pay करना है? So it is all double whammy. So this needs to be plugged. And the last one is on the internal rejections, which I emphasized in the quality as well, that internal rejections needs to be taken care of. And you should think not of TCO आता है तो 5% नहीं 10% तो डाल ही देते rejection करके. No. Why 10% rejection in casting? Why can't you go to a single decimal levels in casting? That should be the aim at the production stage, and then when it comes to us, then it will be further filtered, and when it goes to further customer, it will be like a precision component. That needs to be done. Okay, so with this I conclude. Growth is visible for the next 5 years. There is no doubt about it. There is growth. Absolutely there is growth, which is clearly visible. This industry needs to stand up to the expectation. I'm very clear onto it, and IFC will definitely push this forward. Because if we don't do, we will lose our credibility. What are the focus that are required on? Sustained supply chain, which we talk about, that was my theme for the entire presentation, for mitigating the risk of supply chain and also having adequate capacity in place. You should plan for capacity. Don't be very miser in putting up the capacity. Have the correct capacity in place, and then, or to an extent that you can quickly augment the capacity in a very short span of time. I know cash flow will be a problem. You guys will end up into a lot of other situations. We do understand that. But when the demand knocks your door as an opportunity, at that time, we should not keep our doors closed. Lakshmi jab aati hai, pata nahi chalta hai. So have the capacity in place. New generation castings. This is very important. We are getting into an era of thin-walled castings in blocks. For example, weight is getting reduced in the blocks and cylinder heads. CGI, D5S, these are some of the material nomenclatures which is going to come. And as you guys know about all these things, CMOC, CR castings. So these are coming up in the next few months or 1 or 2 years time frame. Already I am working on a thin-walled casting already. The next one is developing a mindset for world-class quality. Importance to aesthetics. Very clear. There has to be an importance to aesthetics. अरे क्या फर्क पड़ता है इसके ऊपर तो पेंट लग जाता है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? बॉनेट थोड़ी देख के कोई देखेगा casting कैसा है करके. No. Touch and feel is very, very important. Let it be superb whatever we supply from India. Reduced rejections providing a high rolled throughput yield. That means from the casting stage till you are machining and going to your assembly line or at the assembly, your entire RTY should be good. According to me, it should be greater than 99%. Then I can proudly tell this is an excellent manufacturing setup. We should get to that level. Not but the least, affordable cost. I am a purchase guy, so at the end of the day, I will talk about cost. All these things should come at an affordable price, affordable cost to us. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for the patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep and Santosh, having very wonderful and insight about the demand as well as the gaps which as a foundry industry we have. And on behalf of foundry industry, we assure you that we'll definitely try to improve and come to your expectation. Cummins, Cummins is generating the power which everybody wants, but they are generating the power since 103 years, and they generate the power, but they don't use the power. They allow others to use the power. That is the beauty of Cummins. And now I request Mr. Vijay Menon to hand over the memento to Pradeep and Santosh.
We heard all of our speakers about the growth, quality, consistency, delivery, and all the focus. Now I request our session chairman, Mr. Vijay Menon, to sum up.
Hello. Yes, while you are writing down the questions and sending it, I thought I'll just summarize what has been discussed so far. See, one thing that you would have all understood is that these people sitting here represent large companies buying large quantum of castings. They're very large companies buying large quantum of castings, and they dictate the fortunes of the foundry industry. Now, these companies have a very long history. Some of them said 118 years. John Deere, I'm sure, is 180 years old. There's some companies more than 100 years old. And these companies don't become so good consistently, remain so good for such long periods of time unless they have a very strong process focus. One thing that didn't come out, but which I would like to bring out to you, is that these companies are very, very, very strongly process focused. That is the focus. And when we work with these companies, fortunately, through personal experience, I can tell you that these companies are a pleasure to work with. It's a pleasure to work with them, and you not only learn from them, you also, in the process of imbibing that process culture, you bring in new efficiencies into the company. You bring in more cost effectiveness into the company. So by working the process way, we are able to get better efficiencies, we are able to get better effectiveness, the rejection levels that were talked of can come down. All this can happen. Rejection is just a process gone wrong. If the process is followed correctly, the rejection should come down. So typically, the Indian foundries, I can assure you that there are capabilities existing in the Indian foundry to meet requirements of international standards. And those capabilities do exist, and I think we can rise up to the challenge. The next thing is, we talked of rising raw material prices. Rising raw material prices, unfortunately, we don't have much control over rising raw material prices. I personally feel somebody, some corner of the world attacks some other country in some other corner of the world, and domestically the prices start going up. We don't have control, but as you said, if the supply chain can be more scientifically managed, the effectiveness of that can be minimized. But there is no stoppage to human greed. The invasion of Ukraine was looked at or is looked at by many companies as an opportunity to make a quick buck. And that we can't stop. That is something that we have to live with. And I think this raw material price issue will continue for some time. And we need to find solutions for that particular situation. You also said that you expect demand over 10 years to rise very strongly. But I don't know, with the EV threat coming so hard and so fast, do you think this kind of a trend will be continued going forward, or are you still very optimistic about the kind of growth that you're projecting? I would like to discuss with you. Maybe the question-answer session might throw up these questions also. And I feel basically we have come to almost the end of a very, very well articulated, very well presented session. I will wait for the question-answer session. Let's understand the kind of questions the audience has in mind. And after that, I think we'll sum up again and close the session. Thank you.
We have kept 2 persons with the mic. You can take that mic and ask the questions you want. Just raise your hand. He'll come to you.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
My question answer, I have one question.
Excuse me. Before asking a question, my suggestion, please name yourself, name of the company, and whom you are addressing to this question.
Sure,
and
sir.
my suggestion to all the foundry dignitaries, please don't ask any questions embarrassing about the cost or price for the castings. Thank you.
Sure, sir. My name is Pankaj Soni. I am from Shriram Pistons and Rings Limited. My question is to Cummins India and Cummins abroad. Sir, we are supplying casting IC engine for you. So my question is, which one will vanish first, BS6 or IC engine? Or we can have a hope for next 5 years?
Hello. Let me answer it very lightly to you. जब तक मैं रिटायर नहीं होऊंगा तब तक ऐसे इंजन नहीं जाएगा, ठीक है? And I have a long career to go. Hello. Yeah. Thanks for that question. Just on a lighter side, जब तक मैं ये इंडस्ट्री में हूँ तब तक casting नहीं जाने वाला है. Okay, ऐसे इंजन नहीं जाने वाला है. Now coming back to the facts, is that it's a long journey at this point in time, which we are saying. One is commercial vehicles right now is working on IC engines. The next era could be a hybrid, and a subsequent era could be an electric as well. But overall gamut, if you see, everything will coexist. It will not go away. So you need not have to worry about, oh, BS6 tak chala jayega kya karke. Please don't ask that question, because I'm working on BS7 already, that is Euro 7, 2027 or 2031 launch. I am already working on that for developing the castings, and with some of you as well. So don't get afraid or frightened with reference to BS6 chala jayega, BS6 ke baad mein kya hai karke. BS6 ke baad mein still diesel will be there. For example, America has still not fracked its diesel quantum what they have. So there will always be certain diesel engines running in the world. So don't worry about it. And as I said, again, I'm telling, it will coexist, it will not go away.
Any more questions? Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharad Bhupalam from Technorings, Shivamogga, Karnataka. So this is a question to all buyers. What are the prospects of Austemper ductile iron castings in the future, which is a much lighter and better material compared to general gray iron ductile iron castings?
So thank you for your question, valid question. ADI is definitely on the horizon. We see ADI potential to a large extent. The only issue which we see from Deere perspective is, earlier there was technological tie-ups who were providing ADI, technologically some know-how to Indian foundries. But with that going off, particularly I'm talking about heat treatment. And then the facilities which are going to be set up to establish ADI, consistency is going to be the challenge. And I see the basic, roadblock, I would say, or a major challenge would be how do we establish that capability. Nevertheless, we are actively working on some of our changes. We in the Deere world, for India, also for US, there are, sourcing which is under discussion for ADI. So the future is definitely going to be there, but it has to be more seen in light with replacement of steel castings and not replacement of ductile iron or gray iron castings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Hello. Before that, there's one small auxiliary question that I would like to pose before them. And that is, see, there is a lot of fear. I think EV was raised as one big fear in the foundryman's mind. And there is a fear that EV will come and take away a lot of business. So, as a corollary, what can happen is people might scale down on investments, thinking that EV will come and their capacities will get underutilized. EVs will, the scaling down of investments in traditional casting would come down, which could potentially lead to a shortage for you. So I think one area where you need to clarify is, do you think a situation will come where the Indian foundry capacities which are already existing would become redundant in a short span of time?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think that fear might be there, but as I told earlier as well, for example, in last 2 years, what you see in Cummins is, I'll talk about Cummins. There are 3 partnerships which we have been done in the worldwide. One was Daimler, Isuzu, and the other one. So there is an aggregation of diesel manufacturers going on in the world. And what happens is probably in America, somebody might scale it down, but that's an opportunity for India. And that's where what we have projected today is 10% is a very conservative number which we have provided over here. Second thing is with reference to EV, there are different theories which are coming up. This is a new nascent thing which is coming up. First thing is when an EV is there, for that to charge, you should have a battery as well. Electricity should be available. That also poses a question with reference to the input power source. The second one is, today people are telling EV, it's a low pollution or zero pollution, or we are moving towards zero carbon. But when you are making a battery, whatever will come up as a lifetime in the diesel engine, you have already generated in the start itself. So even that has started coming up, and probably because of this, one thing which I strongly feel is that EV can be an intermediary step. The next step, just like in India, it became from BS4 to BS6. Direct, we didn't go to BS5. Similarly, it could be that it can so happen, the world can jump from diesel to hydrogen. This could be something. And at the end of the day, whatever you want, that is what I mentioned very briefly in my presentation as well. To package all these things, casting is required. You are an industry wherein you are not going to be redundant. Probably the number of cylinder blocks might come down, but there could be an increase in the hydrogen packaging casting. So these things will always be there. And also again, as I told you, there is no need to fear for the Indian industry especially, because we are going to get the business from the European nations or from US or from China to India. So there is a long, long way for this industry to go. But when we are doing this, as I told you, this is not a dirty job. people should make even the foundries clean and also look at the environment as well. Then that gives a morale to the environment also. So hope I answered your question, sir.
Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm Somen Mondol, General Manager Manufacturing.
Be loud. Yeah.
Hello. I'm Somen Mondol, General Manager Manufacturing of NSI India
One moment,
Limited.
1 minute. Sir wanted to add what Mr. Pradeep has just said.
Yeah, I just thought of, adding our perspective. So, one thing that will happen for sure is, and it is happening, is almost every OEM is announcing their plans for electrifications for their product lines. Okay. John Deere is also not an exception. We are also having certain targets to offer electric products in each of our product line. So, what is important for all of us, to get the answer that Mr. Menon talked about is the time has come for us to offer these products and let customers have a choice. Because there is today a lot of confusion. You have hybrid, you have diesel, you have electrification going on, you have compact batteries coming in. Batteries are able to store more power, run more longer. A lot of technological innovations happening in battery. That is again challenging a lot of things. So in my opinion, next few years, I would say next 3 to 5 years will be critical. But most important will be for the customers to have choice and the customers to decide what they want to buy. What they want to buy will also depend upon, what is their operating cost and the infrastructure available to manage those vehicles. If I see in terms of opportunity to us, I think electrification happening globally can be a boon for India. When I say boon for India, especially when I talk about products like foundries, where some of the castings may get replaced by electric components, the scale of manufacturing of some of those manufacturers globally will come down because electrification will go up. Those businesses can become much more costlier than what they are today. The advantage will obviously shift to the businesses where they can manage that scale of economy more competitively, and in my opinion, India can benefit. Imagine if electrification speeds up, a lot of casting foundries may not be viable to make those components, and that business can come to India. So this is a matter that I think, Mr. Menon, I feel we need to discuss more often, communicate more, because obviously there is an anxiety, what will happen. But my feeling is India will stand to gain a lot, be able to support global requirements of castings much more with the changes that will happen in the manufacturing globally because of electrification, especially casting. Another thing is, other than blocks, blocks and heads, which is typically where we are talking electrification, the fundamental weight of the machines, those machines which work for the land, are not reducing. We need the traction, we need the weight of the machine. So weight, so far and so long, the weight is required on the machines to perform certain operations. The machine that work for the land, there will always be a demand. So I don't think that we will have a significant challenge or change in terms of capacity utilization for the castings. That's my view.
Yeah. Your question, please.
Audible now?
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Somen Mondal, General Manager, Manufacturing of NSI India Limited. And we have the facility to produce the automotive castings. And we have the facilities of infrastructures as well as the human resources also. And we want to supply the castings to the respected, renowned customers like Dana India, John Deere and Cummins. So we would like to contact with the relevant persons over there for few questions I do have, like whether the castings to be supplied in machine conditions or not, or whether we need the TS certification or not. So I need to discuss in person actually. So can I get the contact numbers of them?
do you want to answer? Because this is a very basic question. I think you should talk to your supply chain and get those numbers open. And I am sure since these giants are sitting over here, it is not very easy. You can see over here, you have their contacts, but to have a basic qualification like everybody was saying, including SSC, these are most important. But however, I think Mr. Kadam like to answer your question. Thank you.
Thanks for your question. I think these contacts are already available with the committee here. And we will also leave our contacts here, whoever want to contact us, or you can visit our website. There also you can get our contacts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello. I have a question.
Just want to tell that how you are here, we are also here to see whether we can get good casting suppliers. So we will give you our contacts. We are not hesitating to give you our contacts. You can send your company profiles, and based on our requirement and based on your company, how strong it is, so our buyers will contact you. Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, now it's okay. Mr. Anukumar from Riddhi Castings, Kolhapur.
Now, Mr. Ramaswamy specifically mentioned about India overtaking China in the years to come, probably 2025. Now, I have a question to him and to the other buyers. How do you compare the dynamics of the market of China as compared to India in terms of indexing of the RM plus the kind of support we get from the government or from the financial institutions to mobilize and liquidate this activity in a more dynamic way? Thank you.
This question is to Mr. Ramaswamy. When you were talking about the trends and growth, everything.
Comparing with China and India, China is a total different ball game, wherein a lot of things are subsidized in China, which is not done in India. For example, it starts from when you want to purchase a land for your plant, there is no subsidy that gets to you. Similarly, with reference to the raw material, currently there is nothing subsidy that is coming in. From an overall perspective, if you see, I want to dealing, if you ask me, I will dealing from China with reference to what we see in India. And as I told earlier as well, earlier whatever we used to see in the past, like once in 2 years, this has come down to a least count of once in a month, which none of us are able to handle. Hopefully this situation will ease out in the next coming quarters. That's what I feel, because there are a lot of, as Mr. Vijay Menon also mentioned, that some part of the world, something is happening, it is hitting all of us. COVID, for example. So for example, if I now again come to COVID, we are strongly placed in India. I can proudly tell as India, we are strongly placed at this point in time, because having a Foundry Congress itself is showing today that we are self-resilient from that perspective. China is gone into lockdowns again. It could be a fourth wave or whatever it is, or is it, why they are doing it, we don't know, because we also closely monitor that. So this is my jumbled answer to you, which I have in my mind as well, like how you asked your question. I am also not able to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. But what I feel is that as a buyer, I will deal in China at this point in time, and I will just concentrate on what is happening in India, because certain things we are unable to control, as Mr. Menon said, which is rightly, we are unable to control. But as buyers, we do have a mechanism how to control it. For me, it might be different. For Deere, it might be different. For Dana, it might be different. But still, all of us are working as a giants in the industry. We are working to see to it that the industry still continues, doesn't suffer, but may not help you with 100% of a recovery as well. So it is, at this point in time, what I can tell is kapda फंस गया है हमारा, कपड़ा कैसे निकालना है. When you take out, there will be some amount of damage that will happen always. That is how I can sum it up. I hope I answered your question. I didn't answer your question?
Hello. Vinod Agarwal from Bombay.
Hello. Yeah, I think the question is unanswered. I need some more inputs.
Probably, you can ask specifically the question, I will tell whether I know it or not.
Yeah, the RM, you spoke specifically on the inoculants and other things, which obviously is a major part is coming from China. Having said that, the challenges are always there. And we overtaking China is, I think, a big exclamation mark. I don't completely agree with it, with your thoughts on that, which you spoke. Yeah.
Thank you. Silicon. 7 months ago, we hit with silicon. Silicon was a shortage. The prices increased from 230 rupees to 1,200 rupees within a span of few months, span of few days. Since I'm at Tata Cummins, I went to my principals, that is Tata Motors, and said that because of silicon, my engine price is going to get increased by 10,000 rupees for you. Okay. I got hit with silicon. Second one is neon. I got hit with neon. Raw neon comes from Russia, gets purified, 99.5% of the world, of the majority of the thing gets purified in Ukraine. War happened, neon, there was shortage of neon. That hit us, and we didn't know till then purified neon is required even for chip manufacturing as well. So why I brought up this is, whatever I told is just a tip of the iceberg. I am not here to answer all your questions. But what I'm trying to tell is, at this point in time, every day, I get hit with a surprise. Yesterday, I lost 100 engines because of something, which is not at all. So what we want is you to analyze. I am not, sitting at Tata Cummins, buying a casting, I cannot keep on drilling down the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, where it is coming. This industry needs to work on that and understand where the fragility is there. I just gave just a snapshot and an overview that how are we getting hit. 3 months ago, we got hit with scrap. लोगों ने बोला कि टाटा स्टील में scrap available नहीं है melt करने के लिए. I was not able to make oil pans. I didn't get rolled sheets. So things come and hit us in a very different way. I just tried, since all of us are there, I am not trying to give the entire picture of what is happening in the industry, but it is just a food for thought, wherein you take this as an assignment. Homework तो देना चाहिए ना बच्चों को, ऐसे हम भी homework दे रहे हैं. Take it as a food for thought, drill deep into it, understand where the supply chain is, and then mitigate your risk accordingly. I hope I was crystal clear now.
I think someone mentioned about the China, the costs are rising here. So we are also interacting with our colleagues in China. Costs are not just rising here, costs are rising everywhere. They are rising in China, rising in Europe, rising in United States. The labor cost in China is rising phenomenally. There are issues going on with China on the pollution side. So a lot of foundries are getting closed. So we don't have to get a threat from China. We have to focus on Western world. There is a huge opportunity to export to the Western world. We are just 11 million metric tons out of total 113 metric tons produced in the world. So China is the biggest casting supplier to the world. 45% of the castings are produced in China. But we have a big opportunity ahead of us. Mr. Pradeep also mentioned we don't have to worry about even electrification. So we have enough opportunities. We have to build capacities. We have to focus on quality. and producing world-class castings. Thank you.
We have time for 2 more questions. I think there's somebody there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
Vinod Agarwal.
Good morning. Vinod Agarwal here from Bombay. In the present scenario, you talked about affordable casting prices, where the casting prices are almost tallying with the raw material prices. How do we cope up with our customers? We go on supplying to our multinational customers. We can't lose them. We have to go on supplying. But how do you see the future for the students?
Vinodji, your question to any specific...
Cummins, last speaker was there.
Pradeep sir is going to hit today.
See, this problem of what you are telling is with reference to the price increase. You are only, for example, today I handle, for example, 210 suppliers. And we get hit from 210 suppliers every day from your marketing team that the price is increasing. We also understand that. And second thing is, we are also going to the OEMs and telling them that, yes, the prices are increasing. What we do in Cummins is, we do have a back-to-back settlements on metal market. Okay. So there is an index which is available. For example, there is a MMR, there is LME. So all these things are index-based. If you are transparent with your customer with reference to the weight and whatever you are giving, have a TCO-based approach and tell them about the weights and everything, and you have a back-to-back settlement on a part number basis, it becomes very easy with reference to you getting a compensation. Sometimes, based on your agreement with your customer, it can be a prospective settlement or it can be a retrospective settlement. The only thing is that you may get hit for 1 month or a quarter based on your agreement, but your OEM is going to compensate you. So the message is very clear. You need not have to bog down. If you don't have a back-to-back settlement, or if you don't have an agreement with your customer, then I don't have an answer for that. Then you will be a crying baby. If you have to have a long-term agreement, if you are a strategic partner, then definitely there will be a long-term agreement signed with you. And in the long-term agreement, metal market is part of the agreement. For us, metal market, warranty, Forex, even we protect our suppliers on Forex. Similar fashion, we are going to our customers and also having a back-to-back settlement. For example, if I'm buying something today from him or from him, I go to my customer and declare, these are the raw materials, and in my engine, this much is the content of the raw material. And for example, if I'm buying the casting, even we are talking about the power, we are talking about the DG, we are talking about the labor, everything. If you want to have your company profitable, first thing is you have to be a strategic partner. Second thing is you have to be transparent with your customer. Third thing, you should have an agreement with your customer on all these indices, which is linked. And believe me, the purchasing industry is highly matured today. It's not that you just come with an ad hoc price increase and the buyer will say, okay, sir, आप supply नहीं करो, मैं आपको approval दे देता हूँ. No. So there are indices which work very clearly, and if you work based on that, you are protected. That is what I can tell.
Thank you very much. Only one question will be.
So this has been discussed quite a long time, and I knew that before coming to this podium that cost is going to be something which is going to be a major focus, and raw material changes. So I thought I'll add something to what Pradeep is saying. See, we have to understand one thing is we follow certain indexes. Then we go back and say, okay, this is changed. So we go back to OEMs and say that, okay, now my price is X, now it has gone to Y, and you have to compensate. And similarly, we also go back to our customers, and then they say, okay, now my tractor price has changed from something to something, 8% increase, 9%, 10% increase. Now, is it valid argument per se or assumption? Yes, it is. But are we doing something new to this? Nothing. You know, it is as good as I take a check and I ask my customers and go back and ask for money, which he's unwilling to pay right now, right? So last 2 months, I'll talk about particularly tractor segment. You would have seen that last 2 years, we have seen boom in tractor, and particularly last year, we stood somewhere around 950,000 tractors as an industry, and you know, all my colleagues, tractor industry colleagues are here, so they'll also agree. There is a certain percentage with which we can go back to our farmers and ask for compensation in terms of commodities. Now, we cannot go back, you know, all of a sudden. You know, when I was traveling from a location and I was coming back, this is around 6th March, 8th March, and I kept on getting phone calls. I was feeling like, you know, I'm not supposed to drive or something. At some point in time, you know, somebody in the morning, he called me, pig iron prices 2 रुपये से बढ़ गया. जब तक मैं बीच में आया था 4 रुपये से बढ़ गया. जब तक मैं end कर रहा था 600 kilometers 6 रुपये से बढ़ गया था. So if this kind of expectation is from OEM that within 6 hours or 8 hours or 1 day or 2 days, you increase your pricing by 6 or 8 rupees a kg, it is impossible for anybody to imagine, predict or something. So we from Deere, we talked internally, we talked to our business partners, most of them are sitting here also. So what we talked is, see, there are no doubt that raw material pricing has gone up. We need to cope up with the pricing. There are ways and means to do that. There are I'm also talking to my industry colleagues, and we are also agreeing to a certain way of compensation. Now, that will be always remaining as whether it is sufficient, whether the foundries should make a cash loss or something like that. So I went back to our team, E-Tech team, and then we talked that when we talk about innovation, when we talk about thinking new within Deere, I just wanted to take this as an example. We collected data from Europe and US from our own foundry. John Deere owns a foundry in Waterloo, and it's a big foundry which makes about 20,000 tons a month, and we have a lot of data. So we talked to them and we collected a lot of data from there, and then we said, this is the first time we are seeing that each and every foundry needs to look at their melt mix, how much scrap, what is the returns, what is the CI boring, and what is that optimization solution available to keep the supply chain running, supply chain resilience, as well as flexibility. Is this going to be working out to be a best possible solution for all industry? It is not. But is this a way? Yes, it is a way. We have worked out data analytics, advanced data analytics tools. We worked with some of our partners, business foundries, and we collected data and we provided them a solution which optimizes percentage of scrap in melt mix, returns, boring if it is possible, because most of the tractor related castings are 200 grade, 220 grade, at the most 240 grade, 250 grade, not more than that. So we optimize that melt mix and we are able to retain advantage of using pig iron 60-70% versus reducing it to between 5 to 25%, and 5 to 6 rupees kg is advantage what we are seeing. How long it is going to sustain depends on how fast the scrap prices are going to catch up with the pig iron prices. Is it required for flexibility? Yes. Does it require a scientific model? Yes. We have done that. So apart from only talking to OEMs and passing on the cost, this is something which we expect our business partners to work along with OEMs, and how do we make it flexible for both. This is not going to be OEM versus, our business partners and versus some other, This is, everybody of us knows that raw material of making a pig iron has gone up, but not to this extent. We see coal prices coming up and down, coking coal prices coming up and down, iron ore prices coming up and down. It had increased at one point in time. After that, it has been continuously reducing. But yes, geopolitical situation has impacted us, and this is opportunity costing which is going on currently. So we all agree to tackle to this situation, but not to this extent that, okay, now it has increased 10 rupees, let's increase the final product cost. I'm talking about what is afforded by our farmers to increase by X amount. It is not the solution. We have to work together and find the optimal solution. And there is means available, and data analytics is one of the tools which we can use definitely. Just add-on thought on what Pradeep is saying. Thank you.
This is the last question. You can take their card when they are on this thing. And this is the last question. Who's there? Anybody?
My name is Manan Shah. I'm the Executive Director of Super Kino Equipments. We are one of the legacy sponsors. My question is regarding R&D. We all know that making commercial vehicles lighter is definitely more fuel efficient. And European car manufacturers like Daimler and Volkswagen, they have ramped up their use of non-ferrous components, for example, aluminium, up to 400 to 500 kilos. Whereas Indian automobiles, we are struggling even at 150 to 200 kilograms. So my question is to the industry experts, where do you see the trend changing in automobile sector, where more and more non-ferrous components get incorporated?
If we compare with reference to Europe, first let me compare with reference to the passenger car vehicle. This is two different segments. One is passenger car vehicle and the second one is the commercial vehicle. Yes, definitely weight is one of the factors. In passenger car vehicles, yes, people are going for more light-weighted, but there is also a different phenomena over there. As you go light and the power of the engine increases, then the traction on the road decreases. So you need to have certain weight. Like as Mr. Kulkarni said, there has to be a weight component. So it's not going to go away. That's one. Second thing is in the commercial vehicles, which I can tell is, it won't be, we are not going to that light what it will be there in the commercial, in the passenger car vehicles. What we are looking at is the new design of the, for example, block and head is the major thing in the engine. So what we are looking at is thin-walled castings. For example, if today there is a X liter of engine which weighs X kilograms, tomorrow what our designers are doing is to reduce it by 15% by having the metallurgy stronger and also reducing the weight. So this is what is the coming near future trend which I am looking at in the commercial vehicles.
Thank you. I think I feel that we are that there is some TV serial Saas Bahu Ka Rishta. So the session is like that, Saas Bahu Ka Rishta. But don't forget, Saas bhi bahu thi aur bahu bhi saas banne wali hai. So this is the relation we have with all the customers and of course with the vendors. So let's carry on. This rishta kabhi tootta nahi hai, but chalta bhi hai aur chalta rahega. So now I hand over to Shamal madam for further proceeding.
Only, one comment is this is the first time Saas has become Bahu and Bahu has become Saas.
Thank you very much, all the delegates here. We have to honor our session chairman. I request our president, Shri Devendra Jain, to come on the stage and honor this. To our session chairman, Mr. Manish Patrikar, Suresh Chavan, please be on the stage.